All right, we should be good to go. Thank you.
Oh, I got muted. Let's call to order the September 9th, 2020 meeting of the Victorian Village Commission. It's 4:05 p.m. This is a virtual hearing being conducted via WebEx. The next monthly business meeting will be at noon, Wednesday, September 30th, 2020. It will be conducted virtually via WebEx. And the next regular commission hearing will be 4:00 p.m. Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. Again, it will be a virtual hearing to be conducted by WebEx. Which staff would like to be sworn in? Sarah?
Yep.
Sarah, do you swear or affirm the testimony, if any, you shall give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but?
I do, Sarah Medwig.
Thank you. All right, let's have a roll call of commissioners present. Erin Moriarty, are you here?
Present.
Liesl Kotheimer will be joining us later, but is not here. Sean Conyers? Please indicate you're present, Sean. Unmute yourself.
Hey, Stephanie. I think Sean is calling user number 4 and we got him muted.
That's right.
Can we hear you now?
Yes,
We
sir.
can.
Thank
You
so
are
much.
here, are you not, Sean?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Jeff Hissam, you're here.
Here.
And Jack Decker, your acting chair and master of ceremonies, is here. Next is approval of the August 12th, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have it's Conyers. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Hissam. Any discussion? All right. Let's have a roll call. Moriarty? Is that yes?
Yes.
You're breaking up. Conyers?
Yes.
Hissam?
Yes.
Decker? Yes. Next is approval of the minutes of the special meeting on August 3rd, 2020. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
It's Aaron. Do we have a second?
Second.
That's Hissam. Discussion. I have one change at the bottom of page 1. It says I call the motion out of order and stated it remains unclear to what extent the commission without the applicant's permission can require changes, etc. I also reasserted my off-stated position that there is no such thing as a concept approval under the code, separate and apart from a certificate of appropriateness, and I'd like the minutes to reflect that. Can we have, since I can't move, can we have a motion to make that change? If anyone agrees that that happened? Okay, Conyers moves. Second?
Yes, sir.
Second.
All right, let's vote. Well, I guess we can vote on the whole thing, can't we? As amended. In favor of adopting the minutes as amended, Moriarty.
Yes.
Conyers.
Yes.
Hissam.
Yes.
Decker. Yes. Motion passes. Do we have a public forum today?
No, we don't.
All right. Staff approvals. Do we have a motion to put the staff approvals enter the staff approvals in the record?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call. Moriarty?
Yes.
Conyers?
Yes.
Hissam?
Yes.
Decker, yes. It is done. Okay, applications. What have we, Sarah?
We have a lot today, so jumping right in. We have 322 Wilbur Avenue to start. Y'all saw this in July as a new construction of a garage. At the time, commissioners noted that the proposed door had too many panels and should come to staff with a revised design with fewer panels, and the applicant did receive a certificate of appropriateness with no panels, but they've decided that they would like to ask to have a few panels, so we have a new door submitted. This new proposal does have far fewer panels than the original design. And the Victorian Village guidelines don't speak directly to garage doors, but they did indicate that pedestrian doors should have no more than 6 panels. The door being proposed has 8 panels, so staff found that to be appropriate considering the size of the door. Staff would recommend as submitted. And then I've listed the standards for new construction, and applicable here, I believe, would be material texture and color should relate to the visually related structures. So the applicant also included some photos of nearby garage doors. But staff found that the nearby doors still have too many panels, especially considering the commissioner's feedback from last month. So we have some photos and the newly proposed door, as well as the original proposed door, just so you can see how they've scaled back the number of panels.
Just so I'm not confused, this is the 8-panel door.
Yes, this is 2 8-panel doors. So the original proposal was 1 big many-panel door. They scaled it down to 2. And the applicant is here.
Does the applicant have anything that he or she wishes to add?
Jack, just saying this is Liesel. I'm here.
Okay, wonderful. Liesel, we're on our first application.
I see that.
All right. I hearing nothing from the applicant.
I'm right
Any dis-
here. Mia Turwin.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, hi, I am here.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Very well. Do you have anything to add to what staff has presented?
No, I think that Sarah garage look consistent with the budget around us. And we did, go ahead and decide to do the 2 doors as opposed to the big one. And then when we looked around, and you'll see, I don't know if Sarah can share it, but we just took less than 2 blocks around us. I took pictures of 24 garages, and all of them are pretty consistent with having panels. Well, they're all.
A lot of those doors are grandfathered too, but do we have any problem with the doors proposed? Anyone?
No issues.
Can
No
we have
concerns here.
can we have a motion to approve as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Conyers, second Moriarty. Further discussion? Roll call, Moriarty.
Yes.
Kodimer. Liesel.
Yes.
Conyers.
Yes.
Hisson.
No.
Decker, yes. Motion passes. You have an approval, I think.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Next.
Next is 667 Yale Avenue. This is a landscape request. This is the backyard where the applicant is working to remove a lot of existing trees, 4 dogwoods, 4 boxwoods, 3 hemlocks. And they propose to add 2 dogwood trees to the south fence. You've seen this previously. It was proposed that they were going to just add some arborvitae around the air conditioner, but commissioners indicated they would like some actual trees. So the applicant is suggesting dogwood trees. The arborvitae are completely removed from the proposal. Staff reviewed this and recommends approving the project as submitted. I found that dogwood trees did seem appropriate to meet the tree request of commissioners. And Victorian Village's guidelines do state that yards should be less busy So removing some of the existing plantings would make the yard less busy. Standards here are also standards for site improvement that just says landscaping and similar improvements should be compatible to each other, the subject building and adjacent properties. And did I say I'd approve this, recommend approving as submitted? If not, I do recommend that.
All
And
right, is Mr. Thrush with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you.
I'm.
I can barely hear you. Your audio is breaking up also. Mr. Thrush, in theory, you're supposed to have a video connection if you want to speak.
I think it's showing me,
there's a face. Is that Carson?
See me?
Yeah.
Howdy.
Do you swear or affirm to his testimony you'll give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but?
I do.
Do you have anything to add to what staff has stated?
No. You did a good job.
Discussion?
Can you flip through it really quick?
I think the dog would be placed a little bit too close together. This diagram. Otherwise,
I just want to see the plan.
did you say they're too close together? Sorry, I missed you.
yeah, I think they're too close together, but otherwise, I mean, I would just follow the planting instructions of the landscaper.
I tend to agree if they're big spreading dogwoods. If they're tiny little ornamental dogwoods, it just depends on what kind of tree it is, doesn't it, Liesl?
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like, I mean, I imagine they're not going to be that big, so I think they're probably okay.
You want to approve it under the condition that he comply with the recommendation of the provider of the trees as to spacing, just in case they are giant.
That sounds like a great idea.
Do we have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve as submitted with guidance from the tree installer on appropriate spacing.
Second.
Further discussion? Roll call, Moriarty. That's a yes. You broke up. Cotheimer?
Yes.
Conyers?
Yes.
Hissam?
Yes.
Decker, yes. Motion passes. Very good. Enjoy your yard. All right. Next, please.
Okay, so next we have, let's see, 47 to 49 West 5th Avenue. This is a demolition of a corrugated metal structure on the rear of a two-story commercial building. This is something that staff learned about from the applicant as well as from code enforcement. VVC reviewed this back in November of 2019 and continued the demolition for revised drawings. Basically, the applicant would like to remove the entire corrugated metal structure behind the building, including the windows, and add wood fencing to match the existing wood fencing. So they're going to get rid of the structure and leave the fence. After the business meeting, commissioners had just asked for some clarification about what would remain and what would be demolished. So only the fence, gate, and fire escape will remain. I checked Google Earth imagery and it looks like the metal structure was just constructed fairly recently, around 2016. So staff's recommendation is to approve it as submitted, and recalling the standards for demolition, which just say that the commissioners need to take a look and make sure that something is not historically or architecturally significant or worthy of preservation before issuing a certificate of appropriateness. And then the standards for site improvement, which say that fences of wrought iron, stone, or wood are encouraged as long as they're not exceeding 6 feet in height.
Is the applicant here?
Not sure if I'm allowed to talk, but yes, I'm here.
All right, well, let's do this. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but?
Yes, sir.
And your name is?
Nick Stamos.
All right. I'm looking at the first picture here. I guess there's one with a bottom one with a bunch of arrows. So basically you're taking out all the metal we can see. You're going to leave the wooden fence that exists, and then you're going to replace on the right hand of the top picture what appears to be a metal fence with a wood fence. Is that accurate?
Yes, there's metal on the right where the teal arrow is, and I'm going to take that out and make it like the red arrow, the dog-eared fence panel, and paint it brown.
Nick, I don't think we have your video. Can you see if you can get that to work for us?
How about now?
Ah, there we go. Now we're compliant.
Thank you.
Discussion. Well, first off, Nick, do you have anything to add to what we've talked about?
No, just that the metal roof will be gone, the framing will be gone, the windows will be gone, and that any metal, like where it says add wood, that metal will be gone, and then I'll change that to what the red arrows are, which is the dog-eared fence panel. So everything that was constructed will be removed, and then there'll just be an open staircase. The gate and the fence I'd like to keep for privacy because I'm close to the church. And it gives privacy for the tenants.
Except for that one stretch of fence, that's an existing condition. Anyway,
I guess my question is I get it on the ground floor, but there's that upper arrow that it looks like there's almost like a second story of wood in the back. It's metal panel now. Are you saying that that metal panel is going to be replaced with wood, or it's going to be an open staircase?
Whatever you prefer.
Nick, the question is, look at the upper right-hand arrow in the picture we're looking at. It's pointing at metal paneling.
Yes.
That's going to be removed. Are you going to replace that paneling with wood or leave that area open?
I can do one, whichever one you're okay with.
I personally think it needs to be open because dog ear, we would never see dog ear in that condition.
Okay. That's fine.
Any other discussion? Have we a motion?
Motion as submitted, just making reference to the upper right-hand corner that metal paneling will be removed and it will reveal and stay as an open staircase.
Have we a second?
Second.
Second.
Aaron beat you to it, Sean.
Yes, sir. That's
Further,
good.
further discussion. Shall we vote? Moriarty,
Yes.
Kodimer,
Yes.
Conyers,
Yes.
slow on the trigger, Conyers. Listen,
Yes.
Decker, yes. Motion passes. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Now, hopefully, my internet doesn't cut out this time.
You need to sign off, sir. There you go.
All right. So we're moving on to 301 West.
Wait a minute. Somebody is making a bunch of noise and I can't hear anyone.
Yeah, that might be me.
Needs to mute themselves.
Just for now, at least.
for now.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Sarah, what is next?
301 West 3rd. This is an exterior building alteration. So this was previously reviewed at the June 2020 hearing and was continued. The applicant would like to add a second-story addition on the existing rear single-story kitchen per submitted drawings. The addition would be clad in hardy. I wrote shingle straight edge. It should just be flat horizontal panels, I believe. They've submitted 2 options, but option A, when we scroll through the materials, is their preferred option. So in the past, commissioners saw that the applicant was proposing to remove the chimney, and they indicated that the chimney should be retained. In these revised drawings, the applicant is keeping the chimney, and that the applicant should select windows from the approved list. That was on the minutes as well. Commissioner comments were that the addition should not overtake the house in size or in detail, and that the shingles that were proposed at the time were inappropriate and recommended more modest cladding. So the applicant has selected windows from the removed list, is proposing to keep the chimney, and they've clarified the existing conditions on the rear elevation, which was something asked at the business meeting. So we've got a photo now of the existing rear porch and its conditions that we can see whenever we get to the photos. Staff's recommendation is approving it just with the condition that they do retain the chimney, which is in their updated drawings. We've got standards of alteration to consider here, which say that we shall repair rather than replace deteriorated features whenever possible. Now, we shouldn't discourage contemporary design as long as it's compatible with an existing environment, and that whenever possible, new additions should be accomplished so that in the future, removal would not impair the essential form or integrity of the structure, and that exterior cladding should be consistent with the original materials. And the applicant is here as well.
All right. I have to recuse myself from this one because of proximity. It's right across the alley from me. And I also needed to recuse myself from the entering the staff approvals into the record for the Morrison applications, which are next door, which I forgot to do. Sean, you want to take over, or Jeff, or somebody? Who wants to run this?
I don't mind if Jeff. Jeff? I'm good. All right, perfect. Everybody, let's go. Can you hear me, everybody?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Want to swear in staff. Sorry, the applicant nearby, because somebody may have to help me when the applicants want to join.
Yeah, I should be. Can you guys hear me or see me? Hello?
Yep, perfect. Johnson, yep. I think Mr. Liu, yep, I think you were just on a second ago. I saw it and the video went back out.
Okay. We'll try it. We'll have 2 phones on. Let me see if one of these work.
Yeah, no problem.
Can you see?
Yep.
Can you see?
Perfect. Yes, sir.
Use that phone.
Perfect. Yep. If you muted that one, that's perfect. That's good enough. That's perfect.
Okay, sorry. We're having some technical difficulties. Are you able to see?
Yes, sir, we can. Yes, sir. Everything's good. I think we had audio and we have video, so I think we're good to go.
See?
Perfect.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I need to swear you in.
Okay.
Perfect. Do you swear the whole testimony that you provide is going to be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Do you have anything to add?
Hello?
Yes, sir. We can still hear you. Do you have anything to add to what the staff had mentioned about your project, sir?
No, I think that was a pretty good.
Oh, you're muted again. I think if you have 2 call-ins or 2 recordings going, just make sure you only have 1.
I'm not participating in this except to point out that it is death to have 2 devices on in the same room. You will cause an infinite echo.
Okay.
I will leave again.
Okay,
Thank you, Jack, for the clarification. Perfect. Do you have anything to add, sir, about the application?
Yeah. No, unless you guys have some questions, and we'll be happy to clarify.
Okay, that's perfect. Go ahead and turn it over to the commissioners. Let's see here. Aaron, do you have anything, any comments you want to provide, or?
No, I think I'm good. I requested an extra image and it's here so we can see the existing conditions. I feel pretty okay with what they are showing now, I think.
Okay. Is there any preference in terms of just kind of talking through? I know there's two options here, so just as a collective commission, is there any preferences outlined with that, Aaron, that you want to share in terms of option A versus option B? I think that's only probably an item that for discussion.
No, I tend to defer to you, architects, for those decisions.
Okay. No problem at all. Lisa or Jeff, do you want to add any comments?
I think I prefer option A over option B. I mean, I guess it's kind of hard to tell in a black and white drawing, but.
So I think option A or B work, but I think B, we usually ask for a different sort of material to differentiate, but
Yeah.
the addition isn't enough to make itself differentiated, I don't think. So I like option A.
Yeah,
I would agree.
I think because it looks like an extension of the front, so it looks like to have it different.
So I'm fine with A.
I would tend to agree as well. Is there, I guess, looking at the existing photographs, I guess what I was just trying to concern is, you know, the scope of work right now is the addition, and I just didn't know, it seems like, you know, that the back porch and such is kind of compromised. Is that, you know, before when we, I think, reviewed this project, it was a larger project, you know, maybe a year or so ago, maybe a year and a half ago, but they were going to address some of the porches. Now that we have the photographs here, it seems like, you know, there's a lot of work here that needs to be done as part of this work. So I guess I want to try to understand this master plan kind of approach a little bit more from the applicant.
Yeah, my understanding is, I mean, we're going to shore up. You can see the right side column is kind of already, I mean, the right side of that roof is kind of fallen down. So we're planning to shore that up to make it level again on the top. But because the space between the hatch and the steps is so small, we're not planning to put any railing or any like other stuff in there. But we are planning to clean that up, if that's what you're asking.
Yes, sir. Okay. Any further discussion, team?
Nope.
All right. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. Motion as presented, and the commissioners all agree that option A is the preferred option.
Is there a second?
Second.
That was a second by Aaron. All right, roll call. All right, Aaron,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Sean, yes. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
Alrighty, so Jack, are you back?
Yes, took a while, but I am back.
Okay, so
What's next?
next is 29 West Avenue. This is landscaping. It's a request for action. This is a 2-story dwelling with a rear parking lot that's bounded by 3rd Avenue on the north and an alley on the east. So currently there's a wrought iron fence surrounding the north end of the property, wrapping around to the alley, and then a parking lot in the back that's surrounded by a wooden shadow box fence. The applicant has proposed quite a bit of landscaping work here, including replacing the path and sandstone steps, repairing some existing walls, adding a handrail to the stairs, adding a new mailbox to the fence, a new iron fence to match existing, repairing the sidewalks. They'd like to remove the existing timber retaining wall and replace it with a dry-laid stone retaining wall. Additional landscaping with plants per submitted plans. In the rear wall, they'd like to add a patio, a 6-foot wood fence, remove an existing enclosure, add a 5-foot wood enclosure for air conditioning units on the east elevation, and add new landscaping per some submitted plans. My analysis of this was that removing the timber wall along the alley, I think, actually resolved some conditions that were considered not appropriate in Victorian Village, which is the timber wall and the proposed wooden privacy fence and air conditioning enclosure are 6 foot or under, and they resolve the existing shadow box fence condition. So staff would recommend approving this project with the condition that the height of the enclosure on the air conditioning units could possibly be reduced to 4 feet to better comply with the Victorian Village guidelines, unless that 5 foot is necessary to shield the air conditioning units from I took these from the standards for site improvement, which requires wooden, iron, or stone fences, more than 6 feet high in rear and side yards, front yard fences where considered appropriate. And also that mechanical systems should be screened with fences. And in the Victorian Village guidelines we have for fences in yards, that fences facing the street should not exceed 4 feet in height, and plantings should complement the house and accentuate the entrance. Again, just not considered appropriate are fences, upland picket fences, and prominent uses of railway landscaping tiles, rustic elements, and conditioning units that are readily visible. So overall, staff supports this application.
Very well. Do we have someone from the applicant? Mr. Leonard, is that you?
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Do you have anything to add to what staff has presented?
No, staff did a great job.
Discussion. This is it took a minute, but this is, if I'm not mistaken, the same house for which we approved the elevator addition, isn't it?
It is.
That's correct.
There are only so many places configured like this in Victorian Village. Maybe Liesl should lead off. What do you think of this?
I think it looks good.
Anyone have concerns about anything here? It's a lot, so maybe we should take a minute to look at it.
I guess my question is go back to the plan if you would. So there's a fence that runs along that side lot then, now?
You mean between the property and the alley?
No, between the properties, both houses.
There is an existing fence there.
And so you're doing something with the fence? What are you doing with the fence?
We are removing and replacing the fence from a shadow box fence to a more craftsman style fence for the elevation drawing.
So the elevation that we see is what you're replacing it with?
Yes.
Liz, can you go to the picture of the drawing of the fence? That one right there. I think that's it, right?
So there's some areas where it says 6 foot fence, but this drawing says 6 feet, and then right under it, it says 5 feet. Are we approving a 6 foot fence?
One elevation's for the privacy fence between the properties. One's to screen the air conditioning units along the alley.
And I did have a question about that. Is the 5 foot required to screen them? Could it be 4 feet, or how tall are your air conditioning units?
It is. It would need to be a minimum of 4 feet to visually screen. We're a little bit worried about theft with the conditioners that accessible to the alley. With a short fence, it seems a little bit. The whole function is, twofold. One, to screen from view, and secondly to protect from theft. So
Are garbage containers going in there?
Excuse me, what?
It's just that whole enclosure's for air conditioning, or is it also for refuse?
Just air conditioning.
It's the 3 air conditioning units at the corner of the main building, correct?
Correct. With the southeast corner.
And the fence itself abuts both the alley and the parking lot, which is part of your property, right?
Correct. It's, yeah.
I think for air conditioning units that are basically sitting out on the alley, this is an unusual condition, and don't think 5 feet is out of line. What do you think? Jeff?
Pardon?
Yeah, Jeff, do you have an opinion whether on the height of this thing, considering where it is?
I guess my only drawback is we've never seen it in relationship to the new garage, the elevator tower, and the back of the house. And we put a lot of emphasis on that whole elevation, and we never saw what this looks like.
Mhm.
Good point.
So it could look great, or it could look really bad.
Well, one thing about the height is the sills and the windows are actually quite high in that location from the alley elevation. I would say the top of the fence to the bottom of the sill of the windows, which I think would be an architectural impact. I would say it's at least 24 inches higher than that elevation. So it seems like if it was shorter, it would actually be out of scale to the building. But
I mean, that's why we have elevations, so we can understand those relationships.
I could submit an elevation to staff.
We can take a peek at it. That's fine.
Do we want to have a subcommittee look at it?
That's fine.
So maybe we have a motion to approve this with the exception of the fence height, which is subject to review of a subcommittee of HISM and another volunteer.
That's fine. I don't mind being a participant as well.
All right. So we have a motion now. Someone needs to make it because I can't.
Motion as submitted. The only caveat is we're going to have an elevation of that side where the air conditioning units and the fencing interact with the new addition and the house. And there's a subcommittee of Sean Conyers and Jeffrey Hissam, and staff will get it, shoot it out to us, and we'll give you feedback.
So it's subject to approval of that feature by the subcommittee.
Yep.
All right. Second?
Second.
Second by Moriarty. Once more, Conyers is slow. All right. Any more discussion? Roll call? Moriarty.
Yes.
Kodimer.
Yes.
Conyers.
Yes.
Hissam.
Yes.
Decker, yes. Motion passes. You have 99% of an approval.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Next.
Next is 610 to 618 Yale Avenue. This is a variance recommendation. This is the former church located at the northeastern corner of Neal and Goodale Street. The applicant is proposing to change the building from the church to a ballroom dancing studio and event space, seeking a variance that permits residential and ancillary uses of properties in an R4 residential district. The applicant has indicated they will not be changing the exterior of the building. Commissioners at the business meeting had questions about how much parking this might need and what areas nearby could be public parking. So the applicant did submit additional information, some maps that show where public could park. Commissioners also mentioned at the business meeting that this new use would likely require less parking than the building needed while functioning as a church. Staff supports recommending the variance change for this project as submitted. And I was considering here a standard for alteration, which is that every reasonable effort should be made to use the property for an originally intended purpose or to provide a compatible use that requires minimal alteration. And the applicant is here.
All right, who is our applicant?
Hi, this is Craig Moncrief, attorney for the applicant with Plank Law Firm. Also, Cindy Parker, the applicant, is here.
Mr. Moncrief is a fellow attorney. I don't need to swear you. Ms. Parker, do you swear or affirm the testimony you will give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but?
I do.
Very well. Do you either of you have anything to add to what staff has presented?
Yeah, if I could give some background here. The property is currently owned by an Ethiopian Orthodox congregation. They vacated the property in November. And speaking to one of the owners, he told me the reason that they moved is that pretty much all of their members live in the Whitehall, East Columbus area. So this was a pretty demanding drive, and a lot of vehicles were there. He told me that on a typical weekday, he was seeing about 50 to 80 people would come to the church on the weekend. 200 up to even 400 people were coming to the church. So a pretty demanding use at this location. And what we're proposing today is much less intense and much less demanding. The first floor of the building, first of all, the exterior of the building is not going to change at all. The first floor of the building would be used as a ballroom dance studio. Hours of operation would be from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. The second floor has 6 rooms, which we're proposing to use as a co-working office space. Those would be 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. Now, the ballroom dancing, it'd be hourly classes, typically a maximum of 10 people, but some more popular hours would be up to 16 people per class. So you're talking about, if we're saying what's the max number of people on the property, let's say it's 6:50 p.m. and they're changing shifts between classes. You got 16 people plus 16 for the next class plus 7 employees. You're looking at about 39 people. Since it's a ballroom dancing, I would hope most people are coming in pairs. So you're looking at probably no more than 20 cars, I would say. And Sarah, do you have the pictures up of the parking? If you could show. Can you go to the Goodale ones? So here's a picture of some parking. I circled the property in blue. This is just west along Goodale. You're seeing about 47 public parking spaces. And if you could go to the next drawing as well. So circle the property in blue. Here's to the east. You've got about 140 spaces along Goodale, all public parking. Also a couple on Hunter that appeared to be hourly. And I think Denison too, even. And then also you've got what I've circled in orange is the Joseph Garage, which would have hourly parking. Now, on weekends, the occasional weekend, Friday through Sunday, there'll be some larger events proposed. The dance studio has 3 showcases per year, which would have about 100 people. They're also proposing to use it every once in a while as an event space, probably 6 to 10 times a year. This would be birthday parties, maybe a reception. This would be probably around 100 to 150 people. And if you could go back up to that arena district map that I provided. One more, please. So here I kind of outlined other parking. I would say, I mean, you still got all the Goodale and the Joseph parking garage spaces. You've also got the surface lot where it says Middle Alley. That's got 300 plus daily parking spaces. You've got the Vine Street garage. You've also got parking on Spruce Street. Now, one of the open lots, I know Chipotle has a development there. I've read that there's going to be a 595 space parking garage. I can't speak as to how they're going to determine it. I'm assuming it's going to be somewhat public, but I can't determine for sure. And then also I've circled in red 300 Spruce Street, which we have the opportunity to enter into a parking agreement with. They've agreed to lease 40 to 50 spaces if need be. So in summary here, I think this is a much less intense use, much less demanding on the area for parking. Applicant is ready to enter into an agreement if need be to provide this parking, and there's plenty in the area. The building is going to remain in place. And then also as one final note, the applicant ran Danceville, USA, which is an Italian village. I also included a letter of recommendation from their landlord in the packet, who not only owned the facility, but lived there and had glowing things to say about how they ran their operation. So it shows that these are people who have dealt with a urban style use like this in a residential area, and they know what they're doing. So with that in mind, I'm open to any questions or comments.
Les, okay, that's a good source.
I guess my only question would be, I think it's a good adaptive reuse of a space. What are we doing about signage?
Cindy, I don't know if you want to speak more. They're planning on coming back with a sign plan. They don't have one fully prepared yet, but we'll be back eventually.
I mean, that's either going to make you sink or swim, quite frankly.
We have gone to Columbus Sign Company because they're very familiar with what the regulations are in Victorian Village, and they've drawn up some plans. They did not get them in time for us to present to you all, but we would definitely, I mean, obviously we will bring them back to you. They are simple. You know, the one that we wanted to put out front is just like a wrought iron with a, you know, and I apologize that I don't have the exact size of it, but they do have what the regulations are. And it's just a hanging sign that says the sanctuary, and then one on the side of the building that would face Goodale, and again fitting the requirements. But we do need to bring that back to you all after.
I mean, that would be, that's my only concern.
Yeah, no, and we do know that there are regulations for that, and he's aware of them. So we will definitely follow all the regulations that you all have in place and bring them before you.
Okay.
Anything else? Are we ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion as submitted with the applicant bringing back a sign package for the commission to review and approve.
And this is zoning, so it'd be a motion to recommend as submitted, correct?
Recommend as submitted. Please do that.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
That's Codimer.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Further discussion. Roll call. Moriarty.
Yes.
Codimer.
Yes.
Conyers.
Yes.
Grissom.
Yes.
Decker. Yes. Motion passes. Thank you. I'm very glad to see this church taking on new life. That's prominent corner in the neighborhood, and we hope we wish you well.
It's going to be beautiful. It will truly be beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
All right, next.
Next is 58 to 64 West 3rd. These are requests for some exterior building modifications. The applicant is proposing to repair portions of existing stucco and repaint the exterior, and repair and modify the porch and add metal railings. Originally, this was coming in as a bigger proposal, but the applicant has amended it to just cover stucco, paint, and front entry porch for this application. At the building, or rather at the business meeting, commissioners requested additional details about the proportions of the columns, so the applicant submitted some additional drawings. They did submit photos of the existing stucco. Staff finds that it seems to show that repair is necessary, and the existing front porch from the photos seems to be in pretty poor condition. And the proposed changes appear to be appropriate and in line with the city code, Victorian Village guidelines, and the character of the surrounding buildings. Staff recommends approving this as submitted with the condition that cleaning of the existing stucco is just done with the gentlest means possible. That new stucco being added matches the existing in composition and texture. And they did submit some additional drawings, so staff has received those materials and included them in the packet. Standards to consider are the standards for alteration, which say that distinguishing characteristics shall not be destroyed. Distinctive features that characterize a property shall be treated with sensitivity. We should aim to repair rather than replace whenever possible. You should use the gentlest means possible when cleaning a property's surface. Don't sandblast and try not to damage the materials, of course. And that exterior cladding shall be consistent with the original materials extant currently on the property. And I'm not sure if the applicant is here.
Do we have an applicant?
I am, yes. My name is Scott Geither with WC Studio, and I am representing the owners at 5864 Properties on West 3rd Avenue.
Very well. And one more time, your name, you were breaking up.
Scott Geither.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. Do you have anything to add to what staff has presented?
Yeah, I'd just like to say I'm representing the owners. They acquired the property within the last month, or sorry, beginning of July. Over the years, the property has been neglected, so they're excited to kind of get in there and pay homage to the area and revitalize it for the neighborhood and also the tenants of the space. There are 12 apartments that are in the actual unit. They're in the 6 of them have already been renovated, and will be doing the 6 hereafter once we get approval. And as of right now, as Sarah mentioned, we are looking to get approval on the exterior paint scheme, along with making modifications or modifying the front porch. And then in the months to come, we are looking to replace doors and windows, which we'll submit at a later date.
All right. This is several years ago. This was the building that the Borer Company wanted to save when they put the modern apartment next to it, I think.
No, that's not. It's down the street, Jack.
I'm confused.
Yep.
Okay.
This is like 4 down. This property has been in front of us with pictures like this many times, and if you walk by it, it doesn't look like that at all. So I guess
that's why I can't place it.
I guess we'll give this new owner a chance because it is in bad shape, and it's unfortunate.
Okay, now I'm partially oriented. Discussion.
I think at the business meeting, there was discussion about columns and trying to understand elevations versus some of the sectional drawings. Has some of those items been updated or at least clarified since then?
Yeah, I believe on the last sheet of the PDF, we did provide some dimensions and some heights of showing what that is. The existing heights and proportions will be keeping the same. Really what's being done is we're removing the existing metal columns that are in there and replacing them with 6x6 posts. Like I said, it's very structurally neglected. There's significant water damage, so a lot of the floor joists need to be replaced and sistered, and the columns have been are in pretty poor shape. And the plan is to rewrap those posts in 4-quarter trim work, as you can see here. But it's pretty much keeping the same scale of what there currently is heights. And as far as the paint scheme, all 4 facades will be stucco, will be patched and painted. We only render the front elevation.
Architects, do we have enough here to know what we're approving?
Yeah, I think I understand. I mean, just when I look at that last page that the gentleman is referencing, page 10 of 12, that's the page that I'm looking at, I guess. which is the page that, yes, that's up on the screen
Yeah,
as well.
I think it's enough.
Yeah, so I think that's fine. I think we were just trying to understand the sizes of those columns that are going to be trim wrapped. I think we understand that the 6x6 is going to be the main structural member, but when they get trim wrapped, we were just trying to ensure that it's going to look like the elevation in lieu of just, a thin 6x6.
Understood. Yes, that's correct.
That's correct. I mean, that's what we were just asking for in terms of clarity.
So essentially, you'd have a 7.5 by 7.5 square column.
Yeah, it may be larger than that. I think that's what we're asking for too, as well. Just, I think what's mimicking the elevation, I think, is the goal, and that's what we were just asking for clarification of. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, a 6x6 post, I think it's like nominal 5.5 by 5.5, and then with 3/4 inch trim around it. So I'd say it's roughly going to be 7.25, 7.5, depending on how much they throw it out.
The more, the better.
Yeah, I think that's what we're saying too. When you look at the elevation, I think that's the beauty of the elevation is, the size of those columns that are being shown. So that's what we were asking for.
Okay.
Perfect.
Do we have enough, or do we need more? One more detailed drawing?
I think we're good.
I'm good.
I have a question. It looks like in the elevation you're showing some glass slate doors that might be different from what's existing, or are you keeping the existing doors?
Yeah, Aaron, as Sarah mentioned, we did have part of the original proposal was to submit the windows and doors as part of this packet. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to take pictures of every single window and door, so we extracted that as part of this application. I think the goal is we'll see you guys next month, and we'll show a little bit more information on the rest of the package and replacing the actual doors and windows.
Okay, that sounds good.
So yes, giving you a treat for the month to come is that's going to be our hope of what we would like to get approved as far as taking out the existing and putting in some wood clad windows.
So if anybody's confused by these drawings, the motion should specify it has nothing to do with the windows and doors. Are we ready for one?
Sure. Motion to approve as submitted.
Second?
Second.
Further discussion? Roll call. Moriarty?
Yes.
Kodheimer?
Yes.
Conyers?
Yes.
Issam?
Yes.
Decker, yes. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You also.
Good luck. This place needs some love.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, bye-bye. Next.
Next is 30 West First Avenue. This is a request for some signage. This is the Sutton apartment building, which is new construction bounded by Price Avenue and Wall Street. So the sign will be a 20-inch by 14-inch sign, so it's a pretty small sign. The sign is to have 1.25-inch tall white acrylic text on black background to be illuminated by exterior mounted Edison bulbs mounted behind the acrylic rain screen. So while originally the applicant brought us a semblance of interior illumination, we've worked with them and they've pushed out their Edison bulbs so they're clearly visible and it looks like exterior illumination. Staff finds the sign to generally appear to meet the short north design guidelines, which encourage low illumination, simple modern design, and lighting that is integrated into the design. And I found the size to be pretty small overall, and the location because of the sign or the size to be considered appropriate. So I would recommend approving the application with the condition that the applicant clarify how the sign will be attached to the wall. The note that the sign should be attached to mortar, not cladding. I would request a section drawing to submit it to staff for review prior to the issuance of a certificate, just showing the attachment of the sign to the wall. Relevant to consider here are the short and north design guidelines for signage, which encourage pedestrian-oriented signage. If illuminated, they encourage external illumination only. And let's see, anything else? Lighting guidelines ask for simple and modern fixtures and integrated design. And for the applicant, I saw that Andrew is here. I'm not sure if anyone
Yes,
else
I
is.
am.
Hi. I don't see your video yet.
Please introduce yourself so you pop up.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I don't see you there, Andrew. Do you have your video?
I don't have my, I had to actually call in. I was having trouble hearing any of the audio with my computer. So I don't have any kind of way to see me.
Could you try calling in on your computer separately? I also see Jamie might be on now with a video. If we do need someone with video to be on to speak.
Jamie?
Oh.
Yeah.
Could you state your name, please? Are you here for this application?
Yes, my name's Jamie McNally. I work with Pizzuti, the developer of the project.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but?
I do, yes.
Do you have anything to add?
I do not. No, we'll provide the section drawing requested. The sign is going to be dimly lit. I think it's appropriate for them to transition from the retail space of High Street to the residential area of the building. And we think the sign is pretty modest. It's about, it's only 20 inches by 14 inches. And we've been working with the city the last few weeks to make sure it was in line with the Short North design guidelines.
Discussion.
Where is it located? I don't get it.
Am I able to, can I share my screen? I can share a rendering. I think is the rendering part of the package?
The bottom right corner, right down there, it's really small. And if you can go to the right list, keep going.
I have another rendering that might be able to tell the story a little bit better, if that's okay to share.
Wait, so it's just on this corner column right here?
Yes, at the main entrance. It's just a main entrance sign that kind of...
In case you're lost late at night and aren't sure what building.
I think that's appropriate. I just didn't know where it was going. And
any other discussion? Any other issues? We ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion for it as submitted.
With a detail submitted to staff showing appropriate attachment to the building?
Yes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Moriarty beat you again. All right, further discussion. Roll call, Moriarty.
Yes.
Kodheimer.
Yes.
Conyers.
Yes.
Listen.
Yes.
Decker, yes. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much, sir. Have a good day. This is shaping up nicely. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Next.
All right, we have 1029 Yale Avenue. This is new construction. This is a 2-story dwelling on the west side of Yale that has a deteriorated garage structure in the alley. So the applicant would like to construct a new carriage house to replace the existing structure. The demolition of the existing structure was reviewed and approved in June. I've got some foundation, window, door specifications listed on here, but Jim found the design for new construction to be visually similar to what's existing, and that found that the new carriage house would maintain the existing rhythm of the alley. Staff would recommend approving the application with any conditions or clarifications from the commissioners. Considering the standards for new construction, mainly just that height, massing, and rhythm should seem compatible with adjacent contributing properties and with the alleyscape in general. Let's see.
All right, who's here for the applicant?
I am Dean Burlon.
And Steve Hurt.
Do you, Steve Hurt and Dee Berlin, swear or affirm that the testimony you will give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Very well. Do you have anything to add here?
I don't think so. I think staff summed it up pretty well. So, but we answer any questions.
Discussion.
No, I don't
Boy,
have
you're
any
lucky tonight.
Pretty in line with what we talked about before. So,
okay,
well done.
Oh, thank you.
Surely somebody can think of something to put these guys on the spot.
Don't encourage them, Jack.
So there are questions. I'll make a motion.
Question, but I'll wait. No, I'll do have a question real quick. Is this lighting? Are we addressing lighting as part of this package? Just because lighting is just not shown in the elevations, or that's just only item, but it's minor in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, we'll bring that back for approval for anything like that. So.
Okay, let's take it. Okay.
Make a motion as submitted.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Ha! Conyers gets one. Further discussion. Roll call vote. Moriarty.
Yes.
Codimer.
Yes.
Conyers.
Yes.
Hissom.
Yes.
Decker, yes. 5-0. It passes.
Great, thank you.
Very well.
Thanks, you guys.
We're not leaving yet.
I didn't think you were.
Okay, so we're moving to 47 West 4th. This is an exterior building modification. So we have 3 projects here. This first one is for the addition. And so let's see, we've got a new rear addition to be placed on the back of the house. We have some roof information, asphalt to align with the existing lower roof elevation, siding to be smooth cement board, windows and doors, aluminum clad wood. And then there'll be an inset porch to include a wooden porch deck and beaded board porch ceiling. So this addition design was conceptually reviewed in May of 2018. At that time, the commissioners commented that there were no major issues with the proposed addition. Commissioner Hissom questioned the window placement on the east elevation, but the applicant clarified and that they heard that and they made some changes to the window spacing because commissioners had felt the windows were too close to the corners. So this final design does have the windows closer together. Let me see, I wrote that the page 5 showed the revised plans. So when we get to those materials, the interior demolition plans do show the loss of a chimney, which is generally considered inappropriate. So staff would recommend approving the application as submitted, but with a condition that the chimney should be retained. I guess I'll add if possible, but I'd like to hear more about that from the applicant. Our standards to consider are the standards for alteration, that distinguishing characteristics of the property shall not be destroyed. Removal or alteration of historic material or features shall be avoided whenever possible. Distinctive features or examples of craftsmanship characterizing a property shall be treated with sensitivity. We should repair rather than replace whenever possible. That contemporary design shouldn't be discouraged if it's compatible with the surrounding property and extant property. And then we've got the conditions that whenever possible, new additions should be completed so that they could be removed in the future. And this is still urban order.
So you're still under oath. What do you have to say about all this, if anything?
I think staff did a great job presenting what we are proposing. The addition is frame as opposed to brick, so it's differentiated from the original building. You did look at it 2 years ago, and there were the comments that were brought up. So we addressed those. And as far as the chimney, when we put this addition on the back, that is it's sort of a secondary chimney, and it will be pretty much buried in the addition. So we're hoping that that can be a reason to not keep it. Yeah, it's a frame addition on the back of a 2.5-story brick house.
What do you mean secondary chimney?
Well, it's on the rear elevation.
Santa wouldn't choose it.
There are, you know, this is one of those houses that the front part of the house is much more decorative, elaborate than the back. So by the time we get to this frame addition on the very, very back, it's, you know.
So you're just gonna, it looks to me like the chimney's integrated into the wall.
Yes.
And so when you remove it, you will just remove that part of it that had protruded from the roof. Is that
We
correct?
are removing it because there will be an opening below it.
An opening below. Oh, so you are going to remove the entire chimney top to bottom?
Yes, that's the plan.
So you can create an opening where it is to get from hither to yon.
Correct.
So my only question is there a main chimney that is remaining on the front piece of the house?
Yes, they're just not shown on this drawing.
Okay.
I would imagine there's more than one.
There are more than one.
So I think this back one just gets buried in, and if we had a roof plan, it, you know.
There is a roof plan in there if you want to, somewhere. That's the roof plan.
Back one.
There. And then can you just zoom in on that?
So if you're looking at that, I wish I could point, but there are two chimneys there that are shown in the primary.
Yeah, they're here and here. Yep.
And then
I think that back chimney just gets so buried, you're not going to read it, whether you're in front or on the sides or in the back of that building. That it becomes non-relevant, I think.
I think it kind of messes with the rhythm of the addition to have something sticking out the very middle of the structure once it's been added to.
Yeah. Any other commissioner comments?
I would agree. So I don't have any concerns with it.
Anyone else? You ready for motion?
Can you go to the, not the roof plan, but like I think there's another top view.
Another what?
Is there another plan view?
A floor plan?
I think there was a floor plan or something.
There they are.
Mm-hmm. So the addition sort of turns the corner, that right? So to break it up.
Yes. So there's a portion that is a hip that projects out to the projection of the main house.
Okay. I was just trying to figure out how it's joined, I guess. If that makes sense.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I was just trying to understand how it was joined, but it makes sense now.
All right. You ready for a motion?
Make a motion as submitted.
Second? Second co-timer. Further discussion? All right, roll call. Moriarty,
Yes.
co-timer,
Yes.
Conyers,
Yes.
Hissom,
Yes.
Decker, yes. 5-0. A rare show of unanimity. All right. I would say goodbye to you, but you aren't leaving.
We're not going anywhere.
We're staying at the same house, even. So we've got more at 47 West 4th. There are 3 parts to this, and this is all a request for action. So first is the demolition of an existing 1-story 2-car garage, then the construction of a new carriage house, and some variances to go along with the new carriage house. Commissioners at the business meeting asked about the construction date of the existing garage. So I took a look. I saw the December 1951 Sanborn map does show a 1-story garage, but the footprint looks different. So it was a different structure. Staff's review doesn't seem to find this to be contributing. Commissioners also requested additional photos of the alley for environmental context, which the applicant submitted. And the design for this was reviewed conceptually at that same May 2018 meeting. Again, commissioners said they had no major issues with the proposed carriage house. Staff would recommend approving this as submitted with any conditions or clarifications from the commissioners. Just a note that while the material proposed for the new carriage house does not relate to the brick primary dwelling, the material would match the proposed addition. It's not visually incompatible with the surrounding buildings on the alley. Standards for consideration are first standards for demolition. So commissioners should determine whether the feature is historically or architecturally significant. If not, then we can talk about demolition. Then standards for new construction. Overall, just considering the height, proportion, rhythm, massing of this new construction compared to the existing primary dwelling, as well as the surrounding alleyscape and other buildings on the alley. And then I put in the Victorian Village guidelines for new construction, which just says new buildings that conform to or are otherwise compatible with existing structures on the street, maintaining harmony, are considered appropriate. And it speaks further to height, width, rhythm, spacing, massing, fitting in with the surrounding environment. And that's all I have.
All right. We want to take the demo first. Well, first, do you guys have anything to add?
I think what's interesting
From the applicant first. Does the applicant have anything to add to what staff said?
Hi, my name is Maurice Wells. I'm the attorney for the applicant as well. I believe Matthew Bell is on here also. I don't have much to add. Sarah, thank you for summing it up for us.
Hey, Maurice, can we get you sworn in first?
Matthew Bell's an attorney. We won't swear him. Is the applicant, the owner, is the other
Maurice
person?
is an attorney.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And Matthew is the owner.
The both attorneys. You're off the hook. Keep going.
No.
Matthew Bell is not an attorney. He's the applicant.
Okay, Mr. Bell, do you swear or affirm the testimony you will give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, wherever you are? There you are. Do you?
You're on mute, Matthew.
Your audio is off, Mr. Bell. We cannot hear you. Speak, or forever hold your peace. Oh, still muted. We'll get back to him. Let's keep going.
So yeah, like I was saying, Sarah, thank you for summing that up. You did that quite well. My part in this was related to the requested variances. So just wanted to expound on those a bit. Most of the variance or all of the variances that we have requested are in line with the historic nature of the existing area and also with the development patterns in the neighborhood. There seem to be quite a few carriage houses that have been approved in this area. So, besides that, I think Sarah, like I said, did a good job of summing things up, and we'll open it up for questions if need be.
All right. Do we want to take this demo first? And Jeff, you were trying to get a word in edgewise.
I just wanted to say, first off, this is an example of what we strive for on this commission. So this is a sizable Italianate house, and they're putting, you know, if in fact it was a carriage house or they had planned it at one time, it would not have been at that garage scale. It would have been at what is being proposed. Or a small little house with a huge carriage house on the back that we've been seeing a lot of. So it's nice to see something, it's nice to see a lot being developed scale wise and with the right architectural vocabulary.
All right. As far as demolition goes, I did pull my handy dandy code, and under 3116.14, if we conclude that the existing garage is not historically or architecturally significant or otherwise worthy of preservation, then that ends the demolition issue. Does anyone believe that this garage of indeterminate but obviously fairly recent and fairly common construction, does anyone contend that it's worthy of preservation or historically, architecturally or historically significant?
Nope.
Anyone else?
No. No.
Yeah, I think we have consensus there. So I think we want to take a vote on the demo. Well, let's go. We do need to look at the design before we vote on the demo. Any issues about the design?
Nope. Well, it kind of goes back to what Sean was saying. Are we going to see what the light fixtures are going to be? Or is that an extra package at Urban Order? Is that something you have to pay more for to get the light package on the drawings?
It'll probably
what's
be
going on here?
next over the overhead doors, but we can bring that back.
Good.
We can include that in the package.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to point out that I think this is, you don't have to match the material of the main structure to be compatible with it. Or rather duplicate the material of the main structure to be compatible with it. And I actually agree with Jeff that this is on the scale that would have been looked at for a house like this back in the day.
We agree. And in this alley, there are a lot of different kinds of structures, many large structures.
Yes. Thank you for giving us those photos. Lastly, does anyone have any issue with the zoning variances that they want us to recommend? Do they appear all to be followed from the design? 2 units, a lot size, frontage, setback.
I think it looks appropriate.
And no issue with the zoning. All right. Do we want to just approve this all at once or ABC?
I think we can do it all at once.
Why don't you make a motion?
Make a motion as submitted for all three parts.
I have a question about that. Will we still obtain a recommendation to zoning? Because we need that as a separate piece.
Yeah, come to think of it, let's just take 3 votes for clarification purposes, since 2 are approvals that'll result in certificates and 1's a recommendation. So yeah, let's just do A for the approval of the design.
So make a motion for approval, three separate areas. A would be design, B would be variances, and C would be demolition.
Take A first. Do we have a second for A?
Second.
Second.
Moriarty gets in under the gun again. All right, further discussion. All right, roll call. Moriarty,
Yes.
Kohlheimer,
Yes.
Conyers,
Yes.
Hisson,
Yes.
Decker, yes. Demolition. Do we have a second on that as submitted?
Second.
All right. Further discussion. And Jeff, your motion does note, does it not, that the basis for the demolition approval is under 41.6. Wait a minute. Let's just get this right. 31.16.14, that the commission finds that the structure is not historically or architecturally significant or otherwise worthy of preservation. Is that what your motion was?
Yes.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Discussion. Roll call. Moriarty,
Yes.
Kohlheimer,
Yes.
Conyers,
Yes.
Hisson,
Yes.
Decker, yes. Lastly, do we have, is part C, which is to recommend the zoning variances 1 through 6 listed in the application. Do we have a second?
Yes.
Second, Jeffrey cannot second his own motion, so that would be Aaron who said yes. Correct?
Correct.
All right, so further discussion, hearing none. Moriarty,
Yes.
Kohlheimer,
Yes.
Conyers,
Yes.
Hisson,
Yes.
Decker, yes, 5-0.
Wow.
It shall be recommended. Are we finally done with you guys, or do you have yet?
No.
2 more.
Two more.
All right.
Do
Staff,
they call that a monopoly?
what awaits us now?
Okay, so we're leaving this address. We're taking a walk to 11-4 Neil. We're also switching gears to conceptual applications. So this application is to do some exterior building alterations and variances. The applicant would like to modify an existing circa 1996 garage into a carriage house, which would involve modifying 2 existing dormers and then adding 2 dormers. So modifying the west elevation's dormers and adding 2 east elevation dormers with new siding to match the existing. We've got some variances here that go along with the change from garage to carriage house, including minimum number of parking spaces, width requirements, side yard, do on a public streets. Let's see, what else? I think that's it. The applicant was open to having variances considered for action, but commissioners at the business meeting indicated that they felt that at this time, everything should be looked at conceptually until we're ready to vote on the new design. Commissioners asked if there would be gutters and suggested that there should be some soffit details added. And staff's analysis is that the garage is non-contributing, mainly just because of the age right now. And then standards for consideration are standards for alteration, which is that contemporary design shouldn't be discouraged and that cladding should be consistent with original materials. So staff's recommendation right now is just to provide some design feedback.
Anything further from the applicants? How old is this thing?
It was built in 1996, and so it's a pretty big structure. I think it was built intending to be a carriage house, but they never went through with the variances. So it's so we're kind of putting things, I guess, back. The owner wants to put things back and make it look more appropriate. So yeah, you can see on the photographs there, it's a tall structure, and a lot of the variances that we're looking at are actually to allow that building to exist. So I think it's just in terms of it's already there. I know the commission asked about gutters, and yes, I'm not sure why there aren't gutters on that building, but we would add that. And also as part of the turning it into a carriage house, we'll be adding soffits because those need to be fire rated because of the proximity to the lot lines. So.
Oh my goodness, it's soffitless in various places.
It's interesting. So,
all right, discussion, folks.
Yeah, I think just one of the things that I just observe is obviously is trying to balance out the height, and so with the introduction of the dormers, but I think that this is pretty much the best that can be done in terms of the organization of the dormer to try to proportion it, comparatively to the lower, half of the base. But I think that's that was only observation, but not necessarily a challenge what's been done. But I think that's one of the challenges overall with the project.
And Johnny, we're actually, after we've submitted this, we've been refining that a little bit, and I think we've gotten the final elevations and dormers in a better proportion. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think the east elevation just seems a little squat.
Exactly. That was our concern. So actually, that will be taller with better taller windows. So.
Okay. That's no other comments on for me. Thank you.
Anyone else? Dean,
Jack, one thing. The question on the variances, we would like a recommendation on variances only because we need to, I guess, move forward as we progress with the working drawings. I don't think the city would have any issue with any of the variances, but we typically like to get a recommendation before we get too far along with the design.
And I would like to add that all of the variances, as Dean said, involve the existing building that is already there, except for the
use variance,
the use and the parking space.
Mm-hmm.
So we can change the design if we need to do that.
I'd be okay with doing the variances. It's kind of a weird situation since the building exists.
I would agree.
Yeah, I can go along with this. Considering and it's pretty non-controversial what you're doing, so I think it's pretty clear what this is going to become.
Mm-hmm.
It's not requiring a great leap of imagination to visualize where you go from our comments to final design here.
Okay.
So do we want to make a motion to recommend the variances be approved?
I will make a motion to approve the variances.
Or recommend their approval since we cannot approve them.
Yeah.
Right.
Very well. Second?
Second.
Further discussion? All right. Let's do our roll call. Moriarty.
Yes.
Co-timer.
Yes.
Conyers.
Yes.
Hisson.
Yes.
Decker, yes. It is done.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have to still keep talking to these people?
One more.
We're not hanging up. So.
All right, here we go. What is this?
All right, so
Sarah.
West 3rd, we've got two things happening here. One is, and this is conceptual. First thing to consider are the porch alterations. The applicant would like to remove an existing enclosed porch on the east side elevation and add a new 2-story brick-clad enclosed rear porch addition with an elevator. And then at the rear, the applicant would like to add a 10-foot 8-inch deep hipped roof 2-story rear south addition to the existing rear shed roof addition. The addition would have cement board siding, some new rear porch details that would be similar to an existing porch, aluminum clad windows, and a split face block foundation. So speaking to the porch alterations, this is on the east elevation. Commissioners at the business meeting had questions about the age of the existing side porch. So I spoke to the applicant. They stated this is a 2015 side porch, I took a look at the certificate from 2015, and it approved demolition of a historic porch that was there due to a crumbling foundation. But the COA stated that the porch posts and trim elements should be retained and reinstalled. So it looks like some of the elements on the existing porch were either those original pieces that were retained and reused, or they were new pieces that were meant to match the existing. So for this portion, the feedback I would give is I would recommend retaining and reinstalling again those trim elements on the side porch, or making new features to match. And then for the rear addition, I didn't see that seemed to be original, but it is present by the 1921 Sanborn map. So staff does find that portion of the house to be historic now. And I would recommend reusing those rear windows on the self-elevation addition if possible. Looking at the standards for alteration here, I'm saying that distinguishing characteristics shall not be destroyed. Changes that take place over time are evidence of the property's history and environment. So they have acquired significance in their own right, and we should respect that. Distinctive stylistic features and examples of craftsmanship shall be treated with sensitivity. Contemporary design shall not be discouraged as long as it's compatible, and exterior cladding shall be consistent with the original materials.
Sarah, you broke up. Did you say the existing brick addition was there on the 21 Sanborn map?
Yeah, the rear addition was there. It doesn't look original to me, but it's certainly been there since the 20s.
Right. Okay, did I interrupt you or?
Pretty much all I had to say, just that staff finds that all of these original or historic aged features should be retained and reused if at all possible. But otherwise, I'm just recommending some design feedback from commissioners.
That's what we're supposed to do now, I think. Do you have anything to add, Dean or Steve?
So if you're familiar with this house, it started off as sort of an Italianate house, and then it got a significant addition to the front to sort of make it arts and crafts kind of era with this really large wraparound porch. But then as you start going back, there are different eras of additions and modifications. So we are looking at the details of this, the porch that was sort of reconstructed in 2015, and picking up on details of that in the proposal that we're doing for our two-story porch. And we're trying to sort of push this elevator sort of behind that projecting bay, which I think was one of the suggestions when we were talking.
So, can we have some drawings so we can understand what you're talking about?
So if you look at that, so from the front, we've got that big porch, we've got all that dental molding and those sort of mission style windows that go back into this Italianate piece that was, I believe, the original part of the house.
Yep.
Then we have the elevator that we're sort of pushing back into the space behind that bay.
So it's between sort of that bay unit and the double-story porch, which it looks like just like a big fire pit. Yeah, chimney.
Yeah.
Is that it?
It would be a very large chimney, yes.
Okay.
But
except you've got to foreshorten the porch quite a bit to get the elevator in there.
But that pushes back behind the bay. So the elevator footprint is where part of the existing porch is. So right now the porch goes all the way from the first addition to the bay. So now the elevator sits in part of that porch.
Right.
Is that making sense? And it is similar to the conversation that we had when we were proposing an elevator for the house 2 doors over. that the commission said, well, why don't you try to put it in between the bay and the smaller part of the house? So in this case, we were able to do that. And then the porch then projects out just past that, and the roof wraps around it.
So can I ask a question? Does that bay sit out, does it differentiate itself from the plane of the elevator?
If you could go to that site plan, which I think is one back. So see, the elevator is that little square, and then the porch is the next piece.
So can someone zoom in on that for a second? What I wish is somehow that gets pulled back enough to let that bay truly read. There was a recent addition where a bay was ruined, a beautiful fireplace bay was ruined. The addition, and I think those bays are so vertical in a house that I think if that was pulled back, 6 to 8 inches, maybe even a foot, it would make a big difference.
If the elevator was pulled back or the
porch. So I read the foreshortened porch, that plane goes back, and then that bay truly reads as a bay, not being cramped on the side by the fireplace wall.
It reads as a bay and not as a bump?
Yes.
We will push the elevator back as far as we can, but currently the porch wraps around that bay, and that's where we're starting.
But now you're exposing that whole thing, and you have this ornate porch, and then you have this ornate bay, and then you slam this brick facade in there. And it's competing with two things that it shouldn't be competing with.
Jeffrey, what if that porch came forward and engaged the bay and the elevator sits back? So if we go to elevation, you wouldn't have you wouldn't have vertical space. That maybe the bay would engage the two-story bay would engage the angled bay. Like
so you're saying like the old version, it would wrap around it.
Yeah, it would wrap around it, almost like how the front porch wraps into that bay as well. So
I think that would be okay.
Okay.
Then you wouldn't have to, you could possibly reuse a lot more of the elements that you've got there.
Yeah, and if you look at the pictures of that bay, we have those arches, which we have half arches, which look really odd on that existing bay. So it might be nice to clean all that up a little bit. So.
Okay, I was wondering a similar but different option of if you could just pull the ornate porch forward and use those half bays on this like corner with them, and so that maybe the ornate porch was as close to the side yard as the brick original bay, and that the elevator would be recessed further. That option.
I think that's what we're talking about, isn't it?
Yes, but I think the difference is, does like the bay roof and the porch roof connect? Or should they be separate?
I think they should be separate.
Or Steve, can we have
What is the existing condition now?
It's an open porch.
It's a glassed-in porch.
Could we go to the pictures?
Oh, I see. Because the only the first floor is in right now.
I got it.
And there's a second balcony on top of it.
Can we back up just a mite? And staff gave us a little bit of the history about this, that it was built very recently.
2015.
but that some pieces were reused. What was there before this?
Did I add, can you go to the bottom, Lewis? I might have added the photos from the original application in 2015.
Yeah, they're in there.
Ah.
That's what was there.
See the old one, how it turned and it sort of respected the bay versus running right into it?
Yeah.
But I think Jeff is the footprint was different though in this porch versus the footprint of the new porch.
That's
This
the
porch
new
is
porch
actually more
runs.
proud.
The new porch runs right into it. The old porch respected the bay.
Yeah, but you can see even the footprint though of it is more proud. This one is more proud of the bay than what they put back actually too. It's pushed back. So
that's what I'm trying.
That's
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm just saying that what we're looking at here is slightly different in terms of the footprints that we currently have that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we can come up with a third footprint. So what should that be? I think I like the idea of leaving a space between the porch and the bay, but having the porch at least partially overlap the elevator so that the big brick wall there is represented by the elevator is just a small, narrower expanse of brick there that's recessed. I think that's what we're hitting. I think that's what we're kind of hitting at.
Yeah, that gives us opportunity to bring that bay forward and play down the elevator chimney effect. So,
and you can move the porch up a little too.
Yes,
that's a good idea.
Yeah, so that's where I was kind of coming. I like this elevation, how it looks here that we're seeing, but the footprint on the site plan above it seems odd that the replaced porch is even with the elevator. So
I see, yeah. So bring it forward.
Yeah.
Bring it forward and have it partially overlap the.
And then we still respect it.
But keep the roof separate.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's what we're all saying. If I'm summarizing for the people who actually know what they're talking about.
Yes, I think that makes sense.
I think the other issue is the rear.
Yes. So
and I think that this is a very distinctive addition that exists. Steve, who is in mid-sentence.
It's a distinct weird addition that keeps getting lower and lower.
Sorry, is it sinking? You broke up.
So one of the things that Sarah had brought up was that reusing those existing windows, and we can reuse those windows. We are proposing that we would do a similar window in this edition. And we know this is an old edition, which is why we put a frame piece on the back of it to be completely independent, basically.
Sorry, you're showing 2 windows but no door on the rear porch?
The door's in the side. So the door goes towards that 3-unit window.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Because that's a recessed porch. So we wanted to just do a simple, sort of simple version of this in wood, connected to that masonry addition, but get a normal ceiling height in there.
I think maybe your fenestration is a little busy, but
could be.
I don't want to go any further or I'll get into trouble.
I was
Do
just
other
gonna
people
ask
have
about Steve and Dean, a just question for you about the elevation of the kind of triptych window is, it seems dropped. Is that just responding to the variation in floor to floor, or what happens when you kind of turn the corner? Like, let's just say, for instance, where's the door with the transoms elevation? Is it the two higher windows that are on the porch, or is it the lower kind of elevation of the triptych window?
It's at the higher one.
Okay. Is there a reason that this one dropped, or the series of three dropped? Just curious.
No, and we can make the head heights line up. We can make those line up. There's no reason for that.
Yeah, they should actually line up. So.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that's a normal, if there is such a thing, a normal use of these windows to team them up like this, because I've seen so few of them around.
Yeah, I don't think that they're normal in this neighborhood. So.
Yeah, I've never seen them before. So.
Yeah, I would like some more thought and investigation given to that.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
Is the commission supportive of using this kind of window on the addition, or should it go back to a square window?
I think I'm fine with it. This house is so interesting in and of itself, and there's so many different vocabularies already.
Yeah,
I know.
It kind of adds to it, it doesn't make it too complex that you can't understand it.
And you save an interesting feature that would be obscured otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff and I agree again.
Scary, Jack.
Someone needs to write this down. So.
I'm taking notes. Don't worry.
Okay, so Steve, do we have enough?
I believe so. So we're generally in favor with some tweaks here and there. Mm-hmm. This is a complicated set of additions.
Yeah, I don't know if in favor is the right word for me. I'm nervous as heck because you've got a lot of significant features that you're fooling around with, but I think you're on the right track to how to deal with them.
Okay.
We will tackle it. So.
Any other way in which we can be of service?
I don't know. Can we just hang out for a couple more applications, or?
Do you have any others?
We got nothing.
We're done for this one.
Excellent. Well, you guys have a good evening.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody. Bye.
Bye. All right, Sarah, what's next?
Sarah, real quick, I hate to interrupt. Commissioner Decker, I'm going to have to bow out. It's 6 o'clock, and I have a family commitment, unfortunately, that I have to attend to. So,
well, Sean, thank you very much. Let the record reflect that we are now 4.
You are actually 3. Cecil had to drop off during that last review, so I have the 3 of you here.
Okay.
The 3 of us are a quorum, and we can give feedback.
Gosh, lucky I didn't have to drop out at 6.
I'll stay on just to hear, but I will not be on video, so I wanted to make that clear. So, thank you.
Oh, okay. So you are still participating, Sean?
Yes, sir. But I just won't be on video as long as everybody feels as though that's acceptable.
We aren't making any more decisions, so I guess we'll have to.
Well, we have 1 old business item that we'll look for a vote, but we've got a total of 3 things, 2 conceptual and 1 old business, and a note that it is 6 o'clock, like you mentioned. So just making sure all the commissioners are comfortable staying on for the 2 conceptual and 1 old business.
What is the old business?
The old business is a sign that we saw last month.
Okay, it's a sign. Go ahead. I don't want to slow things down. Let's go to the next application.
Okay, great. So this is 956 to 968 Hunter. It's a conceptual review for landscaping. There are currently 3 lots on the east side of Hunter that have some existing conditions and that they'd like to add some construction, or rather existing construction that will have some new construction, and there's some existing landscaping and they're proposing new landscaping. So when we looked at this at the business meeting, it seemed like we need some clarification about what was already there and what was being proposed as new. So the applicant has submitted an existing site plan that we can compare to the proposed site plan. Basically, what they're looking to do is install new sidewalk on the west elevation of each of the houses and add some raised beds for vegetables, and then add some horizontal cedar fence between a few of the houses. Then at each of the individual lots, 968 Hunter would like a rear patio with pavers and a fire pit. 962 Hunter is looking for a brick walk and an outdoor movie wall. 960 and 956 Hunter are proposing a rear patio with pavers, and there's a hot tub, I believe it's already there, and a pool that's being proposed, as well as an outdoor theater to project onto 962 Hunter's wall. So a couple things going on here, but
A couple?
couple things, but they did submit this existing site plan, which helps a ton. So if we can get that pulled up to take a first look at, staff's reminders here to consider would just be that Victorian Village guidelines say that what is considered appropriate are plantings that complement the house and accentuate the entrances. What is not appropriate is that plantings that would obstruct significant building designs and landscaping schemes that give a cluttered or busy appearance that detract from the designs of the houses. The standards for site improvements just speak to landscaping, walkways, or improvements that should be compatible with each other, the subject building, structure, adjacent properties, open spaces, overall environment. Staff's recommendation is just to provide some general design feedback.
Which is our job. All right. Who's here for the applicant? Anyone?
Let's see. I see Julie speaking, but
this is Chad. I'm here. I'm the applicant.
I'm sorry. What's your name?
Chad Sieber.
Oh, I see.
Oh, there you go. You've appeared.
There
You
it is.
swear or affirm the testimony you'll give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Very well. Do you have anything to add initially to what staff has said?
Sorry.
Hang on. Sarah, yes?
I saw, Julie, you had your hand raised, but I didn't hear you. So if you're on this application as well, you're muted.
Oh, there's Julie down at the bottom. Yes, you're unmuted.
Okay. Yes.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, Julie?
Yes, I do. Thank
All
you.
right. Very good. Do you guys have anything to add?
So I'm gonna take this one since it's mostly landscaping, and Julie's gonna help me on my next application, which is right after this. The application, Sarah, that you went over is a little bit inaccurate as far as what already exists on the 956 and 960 site. The patio is already there, so really we're just adding a pool and a little bit of sidewalk around it. So do you have the next picture where it shows proposed? Right there. Yep. There's also a few things on the application that are really more for our use. Rather, I don't really think it needs to be approved. When I'm referencing the movie wall, I'm talking about 962, where there's a spot where there's no windows. We're actually going to set up a projector off of one of the other houses that'll project onto that wall. And I don't believe that needs to be approved, but we wanted to kind of get it out there. The other item is the hot tub, which now it's just a concrete, and the hot tub will sit on top of it, which can be removed. So we weren't really sure if that was in the scope of the review or not, but we wanted to put it on there. And the last thing I'll say is that we got a pool that was 16 by 20 approved in 2015 when we got the carriage house approved. So this is kind of a simplified version of the pool, which I think fits much more onto the site. And then just one little, kind of my vision of the project is that all of the houses, all 6 units, will share all of the amenities in common. So there will be one fence that goes around the whole perimeter. So most of the common area will be shared. However, there is a few spots that will be exclusive only to the unit. 966 has a private area, and so does 968. So I can kind of answer questions on that. But if you look at, I don't know what kind of pictures you have, Sarah, but everything that's existing was approved in 2015, and then we've just kind of added to it. And that's a front view, just showing our tree recommendation, which is a Japanese maple. But we're open to anything. We just talked to the arborist, and he mentioned that as a good choice.
Quick question. Are you requesting any changes being made to the exterior of 962 to project movies onto it?
No, not other than what's been approved, which is just the 9-inch overlap cement board.
Got it. Yeah, I don't think a camera. The only change is to put a camera out there, and that doesn't strike me, or a projector out there, and that doesn't strike me as falling within our purview.
So there's no type of screen or scrim that's going to be attached to the wall?
No, I believe we're going to be able to project it on the hardy directly without much interference to the picture. If we did have to alter it and put something permanent, then I think we just come back and get that approved at that point.
That could be slightly controversial, but
right.
Right now, I don't think we have a lot to say about it because.
No, the only thing that alarmed me was when I heard movie wall.
Yeah.
Discussion.
I think that this, this lot has been on steroids, but I think all these things that you're doing are bringing it more together than it's ever been.
I think this is a special case because of the architecture. And I think the Japanese maples will help soften up the streetscape.
Mm-hmm.
And I likewise don't have anything negative to say about any of this that we have jurisdiction over.
Sure.
Is Sean around?
Was this conceptual or is it up for?
This is conceptual.
Okay.
This is conceptual, Commissioner, because I'm actually, and the reason we just wanted to submit a conceptual is I'm thinking about doing an outdoor kitchen off of 956 is going to be my home. And I'm thinking about trying to figure out how to get an outdoor kitchen in there. And I didn't think it would be an issue, but I wanted to kind of get everything else wrapped up and then come back next month for an approval. And there will be some sort of like a built-in grill kind of area. But I hadn't really wrapped my mind around that yet. I kind of wanted to take care of the rest of this.
Well, I think the only problem with that would be if it's a true outdoor grill, what the actual height of the chimney would need to be.
Oh, I wasn't thinking a chimney. I was just thinking maybe something under 5 feet that was built in, just some outdoor cabinets that you can buy and then kind of insert the grill into. I wasn't thinking like a pizza oven or anything like that.
Okay.
So my only comment was, so you said you're living in 956, so you should answer this, but I don't know if that car that's showing in the lower garage is where you intend to park, but if you're parking on the lower half, it seems like you'd be walking out onto the pool and have to walk around the pool just to get to your house. So I wasn't sure if you had considered turning the pool, but that's just a personal thing if you had thought about that.
So the way that the carriage house is designed, and you probably can't tell from that site plan, is that the person that rents that unit pulls into that garage and then goes up those stairs directly into his unit. So that little porch going onto the pool would come down from his unit. I would actually park in the 2 spots to the north and have to walk around the pool.
Okay.
But that's an interesting idea. I haven't played with what that would look like. So I might flip that pool around, and of course for the full submission, I'll have the shop drawings for the pool as well, which will show the coping. And I haven't made my mind up on the concrete, but it'll be some sort of like a buff wash concrete that goes into the pool, with a very contemporary, clean edge all the way around.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Any other feedback? Any questions you have, Mr. Seaver?
Nope, not at this time. Thank you.
Good luck.
Very well. Next.
Yes, next, 201 to 203 West First. Another conceptual review, new construction and variances. This would be to construct a new 1.5-story 3-car garage and carriage house. So three-car garage with a carriage house. Variances here would be to allow 2 single-family residences on a lot with requirements. Let's see, fronting an alley, just things related to having it be a carriage house. Commissioners requested additional photos to illustrate the compatibility with the house. The applicant did submit additional photos of the house. Commissioners also asked about the roof pitch, and the applicant stated that the pitch would be 10-12, and that while some of the house has that pitch, some of it is also steeper than this. Standards to consider are just the ones for new construction, that new construction should be compatible with what's existing, that height, proportion, rhythm, massing, roof shape, scale, everything is compatible visually with what's around it and with the primary structure on the site. Also included some Victorian Village's new construction guidelines, which speak to maintaining harmony with what's existing, and that accessory structures should be designed to complement the primary structure on the site. This is the same. Julie's here for this.
Julie, what do you have to say for yourself? You can't say anything when you're muted.
All right. Can you hear me?
You're back. You're back.
So the existing house is a house that's been modified quite a bit, I think, over the years. So we tried to kind of pick the details that we thought still worked, but there's some funky things going on with it. The other thing I would say, there's certainly precedent in this area for carriage houses. There's a 1.5-story carriage house, or 1 3/4 really, right across the street, that red building. And at the end of this alley, there are a couple 2-story houses that kind of, face us as we're looking down the alley. So I think there's some precedent here for that. So I do need to get the final confirmation on variances from the city. They're just a little backed up, so she hasn't had time to confirm exactly which variances, which is why it's conceptual.
Variances generally follow the design, so.
I mean, the majority of
if we agree on the design, you normally don't have a problem getting us to
Sure.
recommend the variance necessary to make it happen.
Yeah.
Any feedback?
So I have a problem with this. From the standpoint is the condition and what that front house looks like compared to what we talked about in the previous applicant. If that front house had been reworked to the height of its architectural integrity, and then you came in and said, I'm going to build this carriage house, I think I would be fine and dandy with it. What this is basically doing is taking a house that's been mangled, it's probably a rental, I don't know what it is, and you're basically building a new house on the back lot. There's no correlation between the two things. Julie, I can't hear you.
Someone keeps muting me. I think there is some architectural integrity between the two. We are proposing to do some additional renovation to the front house. It's just the variance process takes a lot longer to get approved. You know, it's 3 to 4 month process, but we've actually measured the front building and talked to the owner about doing some things to update. So
would that include changing the cladding on the front, on the main structure?
Julie, do you want me to talk?
yeah, yes, if you could, Chad. I'm not sure how far you want to take the front one.
So, you know, obviously my Hunter properties are right by here. I own some other property within a block away. This building, I have to drive by it every day, and it's just an abomination of design. And on the back of the house, we kind of tore some of the inside out just to get a peek at what the framing looked like. And the siding underneath this metal siding appears to be in very good condition. And it's a wood shiplap. So the first thing we're probably going to do is pull all the metal off. And then I don't know if you guys remember, but you approved a really great porch right across the street on the corner of Hunter and First, on the northwest corner. And the eaves and the overhang and the bay are almost exact to this unit. And they just did a fantastic porch. So I think putting the porch back and ripping that metal off and restoring all of the shiplap wood that's underneath, with a really great Victorian color scheme, I think really makes this, you know, kind of a not a great house to look at to something really substantial. And going with that theme, the design that me and Julie have put forth really is, you know, the board and batten makes it, you know, look like an accessory structure in my mind more. And I'll let Julie talk about the architecture, but I fully intend to do a significant remodel in the front house. And it is much higher than the proposed carriage house. I mean, I think it's at least 10 feet taller.
Jeff, does that answer your question or?
It answers some of my questions.
Yeah, I mean,
This is almost, thank God, the last project we just talked about has matured and things were added to it. But this is how that lot started out before, with a little house with a carriage house that was on steroids behind it. So I'm just a little leery.
This is the largest carriage house I can see on the alley.
it's pretty close to the size of the one right across the street. If you can see the red one there. Yeah, it's almost exactly the same size. And that's, I believe, a fairly new carriage house.
Yeah, if you look at the windows, though.
I mean, it's similar.
Yours goes a lot. The peaks of the roof go a lot higher from the windows than this other structure. Now, maybe that has something to do with the pitches.
It does. We were trying to match the pitch of the existing house, and that's how we got there. The existing house has steeper pitches, so we thought it should be compatible. I mean, to me, that seems architecturally appropriate, but we could certainly look at that.
Yeah, or if there's a way to just bring the whole thing down a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could certainly look at that.
And
you know,
if it is less high, I think some of Jeff's objections would be met, and I'm a little uncomfortable with that too. Because even if you do what you're saying with the front house, this is pretty substantial compared to the building in front of it.
Sure. And I can show you the elevations next to each other, you know, the house and the garage, just to get a part of the scale. And I'll get you the measurements on the one across the street so you can see that as well.
But the house in front doesn't have this massive football linebacker profile like this building does. So it's not just a question of height. But I think of the apparent mass in all directions. It's just maybe a little much here for this carriage house. If you could scale it back, dial it back just a little. I'm just one vote and can't build a dog house, but
No, I think
that's my feedback. I think Jeff's on to something here.
No, I think that's helpful advice. So we'll look at that, look at the scale of it a little bit. And then, I mean, it was just came down to timing on my part. I was very busy. We couldn't get to the front house, but we wanted to I'd like to get some feedback on the idea of a carriage house before we actually submit the application, because there's some time involved with that and money. So.
Sure. Carriage house is definitely appropriate as far as I'm concerned. It's just a matter of making it fit.
Okay. That's really all we were looking for today. So that's very helpful.
Could one of the commissioners comment on the appropriateness in their mind of the carriage house directly across the alley? As far as, I mean, it looks pretty modest to me. And actually, if you look at the windows in the shed dormer, the 3 windows are so tiny. I mean, I don't even think, they definitely don't need egress. I don't even think they function. I'm thinking we could
I'm not
down a little bit.
Portholes. I'm not a fan of portholes. If that's your mind.
I guess the question is I don't know. My guess would be is that red carriage house doesn't. What I'm seeing in your proposal is that's true living space. That's a carriage house and a house on top of it. I think the red piece is basically probably. I don't think it's a unit that's rentable and can be condomized or can be sold. I think it's a large space above there. I don't know what it is, but your space over your garages are definitely defined living areas.
I think
it's for storage.
It's a rental unit in that red.
I
think so. I think so. Yeah.
So we're talking 2 different things here.
No, I'm saying the red carriage house is a full rental unit.
It is.
Yeah, I believe so.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah. I've seen the drawings, so.
And the other thing is the Victorian Village is full of substantial carriage houses, right? I mean, even mine that I built on Hunter, which is a block away, is pretty big. I mean, this is considerably smaller on the scale than that one.
Your carriage house isn't pretty big. It is big. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah. I mean, but there's carriage houses all over that are substantial, that are basically houses in alleys.
Yeah.
So
I think we can bring the scale of this down and make it perceptively look smaller. And Jeff, and everyone, I guess, I think when you see it with the scale of the house, you're going to realize that it is appropriate, I hope. So I think we can make it.
It's conceptual, and you brought work in before, and you worked through the details, Julie. So I don't worry about that.
Yeah, I think we'll get it.
Aaron, you're still here. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, I'm seeing a 3-car garage because I don't know how you're going to scale that. The garage, their carriage house is wider than the primary house is, and I don't think that that's appropriate, and I feel like that might be hard to scale down. So that's probably not something you wanted to hear, but I have a hard time with the 3-car garage there.
All right. Okay. Okay. I think, Chad, did you have any other questions?
No, I think that what we're going to do is do the drawing on the front house and put it in scale and show how much, what it will look like when that's done. And then we'll come back next month and show that relationship between the 2 houses, and that'll hopefully clear some things up.
That'll be helpful. Again, thank you very much. And if we're done, have a good evening.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've got one more item of old business. What is it?
So this is a sign at Lux 23. We saw this last month. This was the awning sign. So staff, commissioners, no one really had any concerns with it. But then I was putting together the certificate of appropriateness, and I saw that interior illumination was proposed for the awning sign. So I'm bringing that back in because interior illumination is not considered appropriate in the short north. But staff work with the applicant to update the proposal to reflect halo illumination instead of internal channel illumination. So yeah, basically just did not realize the awning was lit or proposed to be lit. So hoping that the halo illumination kind of resolves the issue here.
So you want us to reissue this with halo?
Yeah, because whenever I spoke to it and whenever you reviewed it, I don't think anyone mentioned anything about this being illuminated. So I wasn't sure if the commissioners knew that it was proposed for illumination.
I didn't, or I thought it was halo, one or the other.
Yeah, so
Are we good with doing it this way, folks? Do we have anyone from the applicant here? Is that Mr. Zartman?
Yes, Eric Zartman, attorney for the applicant.
Good. Do you have anything to add?
No, thank you, Sarah, for that presentation. I just wanted to add that the halo lighting is preferred lighting in the short north design guidelines. And so we were happy to work with the staff and find a lighting source that was more suited for the design guidelines. We're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Do we have, I'm sorry, I'm an old man, I can't remember the context. Where does this, what building is it on, and what's its logistics and that kind of stuff?
This is the Lux 23 building that was before your commission last month, and this awning is over the front entrance on High Street. You can
right
see
there.
Hand on it, yep.
There you go.
And as Sarah said, the sign was included with the package, but there was an oversight on our end to not highlight the lighting source on the inside. So once that got discovered, we worked with Sarah to get some halo lighting in there instead.
Got it.
So are we ready to have a motion to approve the revised proposal?
Yep.
Is that a motion, Jeff?
Motion as presented.
Second.
Further discussion? Roll call. Somebody's audio is going amok. Okay, Moriarty.
Yes.
Hissam.
Yes.
Decker, yes. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, sir. Have a good evening. Thank you for working with staff so diligently.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Sarah, are we done?
That's all I had for you.
Okay, we need to go away. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Thank you, guys.
We're gone. Thank you.
Good job, Louis.
See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye-bye.